What did you think of watching that Monday night and the tape since then, Nick, on how their offenses look on Dak?
Yeah, that was a good showing by them. I think they were happy to get rolling coming into the playoffs. I think their run game was kind of setting up their pass game. But yeah, I think that's exactly how they wanted to show coming into this game.
Dax has that ability to get out of the pocket and find those rush lanes. And how important is that for you guys to seal those off?
It's going to be a big one for sure. He kind of does it anywhere, B gaps or outside each way. But yeah, he's a big creator down the field after that, so that'll be a big focus this week.
The Cowboys Niners was such a big rivalry for a long time. The 80s and 90s and last year was the first time they played the playoffs in a long time. Did you feel that? Like, how did that kind of show up on game day, or even the lead up to it last year?
Yeah, I think whenever you play the Cowboys, just because the hype that they get, maybe they don't even want that much hype, but they get it anyway because of the team that they are and the talent they have and all that. So, yeah, I mean, it's playoff football either way, so it's going to be a big deal, but the pass definitely makes it even bigger.
Nick, you mentioned Dak's ability. How would you assess how you guys collectively as a defense have handled quarterbacks?
We've done well. I think we've gotten better each season with it. We haven't faced quite as many this year. But yeah, that Raiders game was probably the worst effort we had against a guy who could move. So yeah, we got to be better.
You mentioned you're watching in the locker room last year after you went out. What was your specific reaction to Charles when he ran that power move on Tyron Smith?
What was my reaction?
Yeah.
I don't know. I was a little dazed. DJ's leg is pretty stout.
Does the lack of memory go, predate? I mean, how far back does it? When's your last memory that leading up to that game?
I remember the first stunt we ran for a sack because my dad was sitting right in a box right up front, so I looked at him after that, and then I remember celebrating with the guys in the locker room afterwards.
Is that your scariest concussion, Nick?
Yeah, I'd say so.
Can you have one since?
No.
You mentioned
Thankfully.
after the Miami game with Kyle kind of dinging the defensive line and you and the response you had. Do you know when that happens, what he's doing, or did you feel like, okay, yeah, he's poking me just to get
Who's
him
that?
up?
Kyle?
Yeah, before the Miami game when he kind of dinged you a little bit.
Yeah, I think he does a lot of things. He's very deliberate on his preparation for the week and whether it's challenging certain guys. He does anything that he thinks will give us an edge or give the team an advantage.
Did you say something back at that point, or do you just do it on the field?
No, I mean, it was during a team meeting. I'm not going to say anything back to Kyle.
Did you follow Michael Parsons season at all this year? This year?
Yeah, I've watched. They're on a lot, so I watched.
What do you think of his game?
He's the top player in the league for sure.
What about his game do you stand out?
Just crazy athletic. He's got a few moves that he goes to, and he wins a lot, and he hustles, and he's just sideline to sideline player.
Does your preparation change depending on if it's going to be the veteran or the rookie that you're going to be facing over there?
I think we'll watch all of them just to make sure. But yeah, we got to be ready for whatever they're going to throw at us.
In terms of this defense versus the one that went into Dallas last year, what specific areas do you think that this defense has improved upon to Nico's second year as a defensive coordinator?
I think all three phases. We kind of one thing that we watched was how great our effort was in that game, and that's something that we need to continue to do because that's what takes teams into the playoffs, and it's stopping the run and then playing with your hair on fire. So we need to be like that. You watch Arden Key with the Jags, and he's got those boys really playing with that effort, and it kind of shows. You see Buck and the Colts, like guys who come from here kind of bring that with them, and we need to make sure that we uphold that standard.
Nick, when you see Monday night how big a deal it is when a kicker just kind of loses it. Robbie doesn't generally lose it like that. How nice is it to know you have a guy who's never missed a playoff field goal?
It's awesome. Yeah, unbelievable confidence in him. Yeah, that was pretty wild. You usually don't see guys just completely get the yips like that, but it does show how tough that position is, even for a short kick like that.
Huff broke out with some real big plays earlier in the year, and he was consistent enough to be an all-pro or first Pro Bowler. Was that something you saw coming? His rookie year, were you surprised at all, or did you see it coming?
I think whenever you come on that hot, it's a bit of a surprise just from a first-year starter, but you definitely can see it. The previous year, it was just about getting more reps and cleaning up his eyes a little bit and stuff like that, but I always knew he had that big playability.
When you saw what happened on the Giants-Vikings game, that weird roughing the passer call, then what happened to your brother on the false start, and then the holding they didn't call, how does a player keep his cool when it's so evident it's a mistake in a game this big?
You just have to, self-control. I'm sure Joey wishes he could take that back, but obviously he can't, and it costs your team, so you have to be able to keep your cool no matter how bad the refs are at certain times.
Nick Bosa is getting hurt late, but there's a clip of Juice blocking Trent on accident. Did you see that clip?
I didn't know.
Oh, okay. You got it pretty good.
Cool.